I enjoy Pokemon, as we all do, except one thing that's different about me is that I don't feel as strongly as the rest of the community seemingly does. Everyone has their long-winded tales of Pokemon who've saved their team in a pinch, or Pokemon who they were just drawn to from the beginning. I just have ones that I like and I think are cool. Now, perhaps I'm missing out, and you may be correct, but I can't change how my brain works. I'm AquaDreams, and just remember, we are sad, no diagnosis needed, and today we're counting down the top 10 best. Wait, hold on. Aqua's top 10 most moderately liked Pokemon. Just saying this isn't like a normal sad countdown. When it comes to liking or disliking things, I either have a lot to say or very little overall. Anyways, enough about that, let's get on with the list. I will admit, I've never used Tropius in battle. I guess other than Pixelmon, but that doesn't count. And yes, I am that bastard who plays Pixelmon. I think I'm just starstruck by its design. It's a fantastic banana tree who uses leaves as wings. It's fucking incredible. Plus it's like a dinosaur in it. What's not to love? Otherwise, I think it's just very underrated and almost forgotten. Even by me. I swear I'll use it one day. Stats wise it may not be the best, but in any solo game I'd argue that it's more than viable. Never risk putting it against someone who is super effective against it though. This ain't a Vaporeon, it won't tank it. Plus we're all sleeping on grass flying types, these guys are gonna be killers if they're treated properly. But for now, we'll have to wait. Ask Tropius for a banana, you'll need the potassium to keep your energy up. Reading the Pokédex entry, it says that delicious fruits grew out from around its neck because it always ate the same fruit. And I can adore those priorities. Who needs moderation when if you eat it so much you may end up producing it? It's truly a life lesson for the children. Eat enough of something and you may become or / produce it. But then, as a kid I ate a lot of aubergines, and with time I've grown up to be a dick. I'm gonna call it the Tropius method. Seems like I have a little bit of bias towards Hoenn, but it's mostly where I cut my teeth. Unfortunately this one happens to be annoying to get otherwise. Feebas is atrocious, but its atrocity is smart by nature, as when I wanted to use it back in the day, I would have had to put it through the contest circuit. Now young me was not pulling that, it required continued effort and it wouldn't be able to get done within a day. Or at least, time sensitive me didn't think so. Little did I know when I was older I would have laughed at myself for thinking I had any of my priorities straight. And when I would have been able to do it when Aurus came out, they changed it to being a trade. Ah, fuck. It's annoying because I would have actually done the beauty trait now, but when it came to buying the other game for a Pokemon, well, that can fuck off. Yes, go find a friend. No, I don't like people. Hence why I used Flapple instead of Appleton. We've covered this already. But Milotic is incredible. I mean, never Google image it without safe mode on. The fans have really gotten into it. Very hardcore fan base. It's just a very good water type. It's bulky, it's strong, and isn't really that done in by weaknesses, other than the typical stuff like grass and water. But who's gonna send it out against that anyways? Within a region full of water, I like to imagine that Milotic is never fucked with. The design is fantastic, it's just an elegant Pokemon with a great colour scheme. A pure ugly duckling scenario. But when thinking about its design, if they ever bring back Mega Evolutions, please bring them back, it was the best gimmick you had. I just feel that Milotic is poised for a water dragon typing. It just makes sense. Once again, another Pokemon I've never used, but it simply just looks really cool. It's both like a swordfish and a turbine. Fuck. Feels like the natural successor to piranhas. I would happily have some in a massive aquarium just to keep any people on their toes whilst talking to me. I'm fucking haunted by the power that is a sharp jaw and a turbine. This thing is fast and this thing is fierce. Perhaps I'm set off by skewer being in its name, but holy shit. I don't like being in bodies of water. I was never confident and can never really allow myself to relax. In games, my fear is kind of exemplified, and if I saw a Barraskewda, I would probably just shut my eyes and give up. Within Sword and Shield baby to adult evolutions, it turns from a silly derpy bastard to an absolute killer. I think the kids call it a glow up. Barraskewda ignites the same excitement I felt towards Sharpedo, looking so fucking lethal, but the moves never really fit for me with Sharpedo. Sure, it had Crunch and Surf, but it didn't really suit this hyper aggressive shark. That's on me though, I used it so much in Gen 3 I never really used it in Oris, where it was allowed to be the physical sweeper that it oh so deserved. These issues didn't affect Barraskewda however, so I will continue to let fools liquidate their trousers when they see my fear-inducing Barraskewda. Between the strong jaw and the turbine, there's no avoiding your death. No real grandiose tales within this one, just a recognition of service. Between Johto and Hoenn probably holds my largest amount of playtime. I would genuinely speed through Crystal on like a bi-weekly basis. On my travels I would always opt for either an Ampharos or a Lantern, and on the games I wouldn't choose Totodile, I would happily rather a Lantern. I was particularly surprised to see that the stats were mediocre, but you pair moves like Surf, Discharge, Aqua Ring or Ice Beam, and you've got it flowing. Nuzzle was badass though, a paralyzing move that actually damaged? Fuck yeah! I mean, looking back on it now, it is mediocre, but when using Lantern, it was a revelation. Memories wise, I only really recall it being solid, but for its long-term service in my teams, it garners my gratitude and respect. It's quite enjoyable to have a Pokemon you can always rely on and never tire of. I don't even care for coughing in the games. I think I'm purely here because of his usage in the anime. He never really does anything because he's James's Pokemon, but everything he does is with a perpetual derp. Run, duh. Move, duh. Make noise, coffee. Drink, coffee. Jesus Christ. Every single time I see it I giggle because Coughing's face is one of legend. On a whole, I also enjoy its sheer contentness to do nothing, something we can all aspire to. Plus, as soon as it became the mustachioed man and a top-hatted fellow in Galaria, becoming Poison and Fairy, oh boy. With my continued watching of the show, I can only assume that my fondness of Coughing's consistent derp will grow. Poison types are badass, y'all. Wrestling is cool and has always been an influence on Pokemon. Think Trunks, Singlets, etc., Machamp, Pignite and more. When it came to X and Y, they decided to have a fighting flying Luchador, which was a beautiful synergy of typing, and made sense entirely surrounding the Pokemon. It's such a huge world full of rich characters, colours and energy, which is why we understand why Pokemon likes to take from it time to time. Incineroar is too far though. Don't inflate your firefighting by masking it behind, oh look, it's a heel wrestler, a bad guy, and it's a dark type. Nah. Flying down the entrance ramp, here we have Lucha. Being a colourful green/red bird, it made a somewhat underrated typing quite powerful, and even with it being a single form Pokemon, it made me want to use it. I'm quite bad at picking one form Pokemon. Coupling with its Pokédex entry, which establishes that it's proficient fighting skills, which allows it to hang with big bruises like Machamp and Hariyama. This fucker is so badass it can go against these burly fuckers. Couple this with a flying breast and it just made it feel great. Especially considering it coped in a generation that wouldn't really humour fighting/flying types. Soft spot for high jump kick though as well. I see it as high risk, high reward. I never actually owned Pokemon Let's Go. My sister had it and would visit with it and we'd all steal the Switch. I found the experience to be fun, albeit jarring due to the emphasis on catching rather than battling. But the stat candies allowed Pokemon that may not be as viable to be viable. In comes Mount Moon and I was excited to see the rocks, all the bugs and all the fairies, but waltzing around I saw a shiny Paris. In my travels I'd only had like Mightyena, Yungoos and Caterpie in terms of shinies. I was initially skeptical. I caught it and lo and behold I had a shiny Paris to my ranks. I guess gripes wise Paris' shiny is dope, it's all red and exactly what you want. But they gave the red version to the normal Parasect, not the shiny one. They swapped it. The bastards! Regardless, I didn't care. I had a shiny Paris, and I could buff the attack stat as much as I could. And within Gen 7's bug type attack pool, myself and Parasect absolutely battered everyone. I never actually finished my run of Let's Go. I think I made it to the normal drop-off point of Kanto being Saffron City and the Sylph Scope, and it was quite easy, and I'd already spent like 10 hours catching everything, and the battles weren't very stimulating, so it just fell wayside. Catching a shiny Paris though will keep me remembering it, otherwise I couldn't imagine having any tales about it. I'm still not sure about starters. Overall they just don't feel special anymore. They should represent the game in some way, because it's how each one starts. And I guess after playing all of the games for so long, the special aspect to them subsides. However, I feel like we all innately have a deep down favourite. As a kid I watched some Pokemon ROM hack story things. I remember watching Water Pokemon Legend by Trainer Door, so I was very receptive of Blastoise and all water type starters. However, over time it slipped, and I just found that most of the water types were generic. And with the fire types other than Delphox being fighting, so I found myself enjoying the often disrespected grass type. With that in mind, my pick is the leaf-bladed legend SADtirical. In a generation surrounded by Blaziken and Swampert, it often feels overshadowed by its fire and water counterparts. It's not a meme, and it's not a badass fighting chicken, so it didn't really hit for a lot of people. Admittedly though, Sceptile is like a fine wine, except you age and Sceptile stays as badass as ever. I guess the mediocre aspect of Sceptile is Grovyle. Doesn't have the personality of either, and it just represents how 90% of all middle evolutions are just the next step rather than the culmination of the plan. With that, the biggest detractors are probably Grovyle and Pignite. Let's look at how cool this bastard is. Plus, Leaf Blade is perpetually my favourite move. Also remember that in the anime that Ash's Sceptile was sly and a sneaky cool badass. Also, its Mega makes it Grass Dragon, a typing that I think is quite underrated and underexplored. The only actual one who has this typing is Flapple/Appleton. Plus, the ORAS remakes did the starters very well and fleshed out these Pokemon within a generation that actually had a physical special split, rendering it so much higher in my rankings. In my most recent Pokemon playthrough, I travelled through Pokemon Sword, and I've been on the record for describing my upset and disinterest, the shunning like it was Centiskorch. A mustache-wielding, fire-expelling beetle took my team right through Galar, with its only resistance being the mediocre Gigantamax gimmick. Flexing moves like Fire Lash and Lunge whipped its way through everyone, and lassoed its way to my heart. Furthering Sword and Shield's unimpressive baby Pokemon similar to Arrokuda, Sizzlipede looks like a mediocre Radiator, but carries itself with a quiet, reserved confidence. I mean, would you walk around with that mustache? Huh? This infinitely and indefinitely carried most of my team throughout the game. I think if I repicked my team again, I would have gotten rid of like 60% of it, but Centiskorch would have made it every single time. It's just a very solid fire type, and surprisingly strong for a bug type, a typing of whom I'm quite fond of, which I feel gets shit on. You never want to see an Absol in the wild. If you do, run. It senses disasters with its horn, and if it appears, you may be fucked and a natural disaster may occur. In later entries they described Absol as the bringer of doom, and my inner edgelord feels for it. Imagine coming out the mountains and trying to go deal with people and all they do is scream at you. Not fun, not at all. You tie in its incredible design and its ridiculous attack stat, and you have an offensive masterpiece who can do a lot of what is needed of it. Imagine the dastardly shit you could do, just sending out your Absol into a town and just seeing the faces recoil and run for the hills as you sprint off giggling about the fear you instilled in everyone. If any Pokemon was sought after to be like a Pokemon worshipped like a cult, I would expect the Bringer of Doom Absol to be up there. Absol, however, keeps to itself a lot, and I would take an Absol with pride to ruin some bastards on my Pokemon journey. I don't know why I'm so taken to Absol as a whole, there is something so cool about it. An enigmatic Pokemon with whom I train with pride. I'm often driven to Pokemon who have an air of coolness / badass about them, and more than what really meets the eye. Unfortunately, I've never really taken to Ghost / Dark types, but if I did, you'd argue that this list would have to be Haunted. If I answer all the questions here, my favourite typing is probably Bug, but types like Poison, Grass and Ice are quite up there. I just don't liking what everyone else does. That's why me and my Absol will happily recede back to the mountains. We're hermits by nature. We've been sad. No diagnosis needed. And just remember, oh shit, there's an Absol there! Run! Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe and press that notification bell to be sure to get notified of every new upload. If you want to support me anywhere else, go to the Patreon. We're on Patreon at We Are Sad. And go follow me on Twitter at AquaDreams and Sad on Twitter at We Are Sad Indeed. Go follow me on Twitch at AquaDreams and go join the Discord. We have a link down below. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.